was kind of your takeaways from that, where a game that you guys had controlled pretty much the entire way sort of slipped away?
Yeah, I think going into halftime with a double-digit lead, I think getting it up to almost 17, I think there's a lot of things holistically that we can be better at. You know, it starts with communication. It starts with getting out to shooters. It starts with sticking with just the game plan of the shots that we're going to give up and the shots that we're not. And I think that, you know, it's always easy to look at like a last play or a last second thing like that. But I think in that second half, there's a lot that we can take away in terms of us getting away from our standard of play.
What would you like the younger guards on this team, Dylan and Steph, to sort of learn about navigating these sort of dog days of the season where everybody's banged up and tired and kind of push them back?
Well, I think, you know, for them, it's an opportunity to grow. I think they're in position where obviously they have the ball in their hands a lot. They're seeing different coverages. The coaching staff, the players on this team, we trust them to go out there and make those plays. So I think they're in a great position, honestly, to continue to grow and to learn. And I think this is part of the process of playing minutes on a good team and leading our offense.
Do you remember being that young and having the season hit you like that?
For sure. I mean, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of fatigue, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that. But I think that's part of the trust that, you know, everyone has in those guys. Obviously, they both are extremely talented. They can do things that not many people in this league can do. So I think trying to find that balance between when to be aggressive and when to run the offense, when to attack and when to kick out, you know, just in the flow of teams game plan against you, seeing different coverages, navigating crowds. They're just things that young guards go through.
You've played in the playoffs before, and it's pretty physical. It seemed like the end of that game kind of was reminiscent of that. How valuable do you think that is for your younger teammates who haven't been there to go through the playoff scenarios of like getting shoved off your spot before the play starts, constant ATOs, clock management, all that kind of stuff?
Well, at this point in time, I think it's how do we instill the habits that we want to learn from those? Because we've been through that, right? I mean, we went through that in the Knicks game. Both the Knicks games that we played were extremely physical, right? The first game that they beat us, they were the more physical team. The last time we came here, it was an extremely physical game. The OKC games that we played were extremely physical games. So at this point in time, guys have been in that quote-unquote playoff-style atmosphere. But I think for us, it's a matter of can we not repeat the same mistakes. You know, if we're going to lose a game, it's going to have to be because, you know, we dictated on our terms that they did what we wanted them to do rather than it was just a breakdown or it was just a forgotten box out or a forgotten X out or things like that.
Victor was back in the starting five and seemed to make his presence felt early, particularly on the defensive end. What did you see from him with that group to start the game?
No, Vic's been great. I think it's been definitely a challenge for him just navigating injuries this year. You know, you're playing a lot, you go out on a mid restriction, go out again on a mid restriction. So I think for him, it's not easy kind of coming back from injury on a back-to-back, 2 back-to-backs, but I thought he did a great job of just continue to be aggressive, continue to just trust himself. He knows that we have a lot of trust in him and just go out there and make plays.
You mentioned OKC, you played them next. How much can you go back and watch those 3 games you played against them and draw from that? How much of it is just a new ball game?
No, I think it's a new ball game, but I think you only have to look at these last 2 games to, I think, realize where we're at in the season, right? I mean, playing 2 good teams, it comes down to the wire, both games, extremely physical. Like, that's the stretch that we're in right now is this same lesson going to keep showing up for us. And, you know, if we don't pass the test, then it's going to be the result, right? So I think, you know, Boston we win, tonight we lose. I think we take away some positive and some negatives from both games, but I think that the controllables we can be better at.
Do you see a game against the champs as another opportunity to learn and grow and prepare yourself for what might be a long playoff or a run towards the playoffs?
Absolutely. And I think these games, they show you how good your focus is. You know, when we talk about execution down the stretch, when we talk about, you know, can we get to our spots, when we talk about getting 2 stops in a row, I mean, these are the games, these are the examples, these are the reps that matter. And I think that having these in successive back-to-back nights, next game coming with OKC, kind of where we're at, it's a good test for us. So, you know, we'll either show up to pass the test or we'll be in the same boat next game.
Going back to what you were saying about mistakes, I couldn't tell if there were missed X outs because when they went 5 out at the end, Vic was taking like a lot of leeway on how he wanted the zone off the corner. So Do you guys have a feel for how much he's getting away from his man to kind of like double underneath, and does that affect what your responsibility is for different closeouts?
So I think there's the basic principles of how you would, play your defense. I think there's, special situations obviously that Vic presents with his ability, but then there's also honestly just late game management. Like how do you want to play based off who's out there, who's having a game going. Nasri, has 11 points, in the fourth or whatever. You have Ant who's, trying to get to a basket. Obviously Julius Randle, was a load on the board. So I feel like in those situations as a collective, it's just understanding like where are we at with our personnel on the floor, and for a guy like Victor, if he's going to do certain things, how do we adjust and cover that? We can't expect him to say, "I want you to play shift defense, meet a guy at the rim, and box your man out." Right? There's just a chain effect to having a special type of defender like that.
Thanks, H.
Thank you.
Ultimate Pro, appreciate you. We're done in here, and we'll open up the session.
Thank you, Ultimate Pro.
Thank you, Sam. We're done in here. Thank you for your help.